Good morning. The first thing I'd like to say is that if one does not know to what harbour they are sailing, no wind is favourable. Basically, what that means is if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a goal, you have nothing to direct all your actions towards. In other words, you can't say what's conducive to the goal, what's conducive to the goal. And then you'll be blown around by every fucking dickhead's opinion and what everybody else thinks, and by marketing and by everybody telling you what's socially acceptable, what's not socially acceptable, what looks good, what doesn't look good. Oh, I don't like that. I don't. Who gives a fuck what you like? Who gives a fuck what you like? Do you know what I mean? But basically, if one does not know to what harbour they are sailing, no wind is favourable. In other words, like I ask myself, they say oh, this. If you say all life is determined, now we can get into that because it takes a lot of philosophy to understand, to be able to see both perspectives simultaneously. But I'm very much about determining the nature of change and not have it determined by others. Now, if we really get into the philosophy, you can't do philosophy in a 15-minute video. It's a broad subject. It takes years to understand it. You can't just watch a video and think you know everything, because you have to get into dialectics, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis in order to have a full understanding of it, and then to be able to bring it all together. But that's why a lot of it seems contradictory, but when you really get into it, it's not contradictory at all. But one thing I will tell you, that you need it's very important for now. You can breeze through life, and you can wander aimlessly through life. As I said, I'm not going to stumble blindly through life. I'm not going to stumble blindly through life, because if you have everything dictated to you by everybody else, you won't know whether you're coming or going. You won't know whether you're coming or going. And especially if you're trying to please everybody else, well, best of luck with that. Best of luck with that. That's never going to happen. You're never going to please everybody. You're never going to please everybody. But, yeah, how we come to this. Yeah, I have, for example, like if we take my physique, I had to ask myself the other day, first of all, I had to take a little time to decide what is the goal? What is the goal? Because I said to myself, do I want to look like, do I want to strip off all the fat? Am I going for the poster boy physique? Am I going for the six pack, for the look at me, you know what I mean? Physique, and there was a time I did strive towards that physique. I used to hold Arnold Schwarzenegger as my role model and aim towards this. This was my example of excellence, and in striving for excellence, this was the physique that I wanted to attain, this old school bodybuilding physique. But at that time, I was driven very much by my insecurities. I hated my physique, and I set about changing it by whatever means necessary. And I said, that's the aim. That's what I'm striving towards. That's excellence. And whereas I didn't reach this level of perfection, I was striving towards this. Now, I didn't do too bad. I have to say, I didn't do too bad. But then I got a few contraindications of striving towards that. I did get the arthritis in the hands and a few different health issues. But I addressed them too. I fixed them too, and this was part of the experience. And learned a lot from addressing and overcoming these things. So as to say, everything with reason. But now I'm back again. I'm back in the gym again. I'm taking a bit of juice and everything else. But my goals have changed. My goal now is a Roman gladiator physique, I call it. It's a new category that I'm bringing in. It's sort of like bikini for men. So I want to be big and powerful, because we might say it's the will to power, but I want to be big and powerful with functional strength, functional muscle, and I want to feel good. So feeling good for me, because I think so much the brain needs carbs, is the Roman gladiator physique, because that'll be sort of big and powerful, with sort of a little bit soft in the middle, and that for me is perfectly okay. There was a reason they were a little bit soft in the middle, because so they could get cut and they wouldn't bleed that much, They had a subcutaneous layer of fat, and that's just the bollocks. That's exactly the look I'm going for, because my brain needs carbs, and the diet then I'm finding you have to find what works best for you. But the diet I'm finding working best for me at the moment is the oil the island, the bread, the cucumbers, the tomatoes, and chicken and rice. Chicken and rice. Plenty chicken and rice. And chicken legs and rice, actually, to be specific. And this diet is at the moment, is serving this purpose just perfect. But it's about finding what works for me, and there's a little bit of playing around to find what's worked for me. But now I'm back on the chicken and rice. I let go of the chicken and rice for a little bit, but now I'm back on the chicken and rice because it's conducive to the goal. It's conducive to the goal. So anyway, how I came to be talking about this. The other day, someone gave me a review of 4 out of 10. Gave the hostel a review of 4 out of 10. Now, I don't read the reviews because I don't give a fuck about anyone else's opinion. I do my best. I strive for excellence. I know what I want to achieve with this hostel. I know exactly what I want to achieve, and I'm striving towards a goal. I'm striving towards an end. I'm creating a concept. And when you're creating a concept, sometimes you really have to hold your line. I've done this with every other business I've had. I had to hold my line for maybe 6 months, whatever. I could talk about that, but anyway. It's like one time I was opening a sunbed shop, and everybody said to me, "You may put blinds in the window, you may put blinds in the window." And I said, "No. You may put blinds in the window. There has to be blinds in the window. Nobody wants to be seen in the sunbed shop." And I said, "No." And then even the accountant rang me and said, "Dave, like, you may put blinds in the window, because after spending a fortune opening this shop, and wasn't a sinner coming into it." And I said, no fucking way. I said, "No fucking way." I said, "They're well able to sit down there in Peter Marks with a big stupid thing in their head and look at me. I said, "And not a fucking word about it. They're too happy to sit in this window with a big stupid thing in their head because they're in Peter Marks. No way I'm putting blinds in the window. And no way would I put blinds in the window." And it must have been 6 months before anyone came through the door, but that was the busiest fucking tenant shop I was ever in. I was turning over 300 grand a year. The last year I had it open, I was turning over 300 grand a year in it. But you have to hold your line. The same when I opened an all-male bodybuilding gym. No, I sat in it on my own for a long time, but I would not stir. No matter what women came in the door, I would not budge. I held my line. And that was a busy fucking gym. Again, when I reach a culmination point, I close it. But that's because, I did what I set out to do, and there was no point. I was trying to move on and do something else. This is life. But anyway, so there I am, holding my line in the gym. Now, as I said, I don't give you reviews because I strive for excellence, but I don't give a fuck about anyone else's opinions. I don't give a fuck about their perspectives. I'm not going to have my goals or my life determined by The Walking Dead. But as I used to say when I used to work for Otis, putting in the lifts every Friday when I came round to do my timesheet, I used to be laughing. I used to say, "The pen is mightier than the sword." Now, that's never more prevalent than in modern day society, where they have the power of their review. "You better rim my hole, or I will give you a bad review." And this is how now a new method they've found to have empowered themselves, by validating others. I remember watching an episode of Black Mirror where everybody had to validate everybody else, and when you went for an apartment, then they said, "Oh, you're a pink. You have to be a pink to get these apartments, or you have to be a red to get these apartments." So everywhere you went, you went, "Hi," or you licked everybody's arse, you bought them drinks or whatever, so they give you a star. They look you up in the social media and they give you a star. And then the more stars you had, it's sort of like the credit score thing that they're bringing in China. If you buy 6 beers, they lower your credit score, and then you can't get tickets to the opera, and you can't get this, that, and the other because you don't have a high enough credit score. Basically, it's the same thing, but really what the universe is doing is stays tight in the thumb screws until you wake the fuck up and say, "Here, fuck this shit. Until you start thinking for yourselves and you start saying, "Fuck this shit," they will continuously turn in the thumb screws, making you more and more miserable. And the Asians are worse for it, because they don't seem to have the ability to fucking wake the fuck up and start thinking for themselves. They're happy in the Borg lifestyle, in the Borg mindset, the collective mindset. But The Walking Dead, and then they alleviate their misery by buying stupid shit. and going around distracting themselves from their misery. But anyway, so there we were anyway. I don't read the reviews, but the reviews were brought to my attention. The review of the 4 out of 10 was brought to my attention. And he says, you're always drinking. And I says, actually, I'm not always drinking. I'm always working. And he says, you were drunk last night. I said, I was drunk last night. I said, but I got up this morning and I cleaned the whole hostel, windows and everything. As we say in Ireland, don't stop drinking all night with the boys if you're not able to go for work in the morning with the men. But the drinking is conducive to the goal. In Ireland, we never had to pay anyone to listen to us. You only had to go for a few pints. But now we have the psychologists and the psychiatrists, and they're bringing in this fucking antisocial behaviour and drink, demon, drink. Drink, demon, drink, and drugs, demon, drugs, and everything is antisocial behaviour. But what they're doing is they're cultivating a market that serves their own interest, that serves their selfish interest, to make everybody good and fucking miserable and go and pay and talk to them. That's exactly what they're fucking doing. The very same as the fucking Christians, that they bring in all these rules and everything else and all these stupid Christian values that drives everybody towards spiritual guidance. Spiritual guidance. You need some more spiritual guidance. Oh, bad thoughts. Oh, you need some more spiritual guidance. And they cultivate their own market and they create their own market. And this is how they built their fucking empire. Now, things have not fucking changed. The only thing that's fucking changed is it's now science. Now science. It's now psychology and psychiatry who are flat out is creating their own market by an academic hierarchy depending on what is and is not socially unacceptable. And now we have the Walking Dead going around fucking with their fucking reviews. I'll tell you what you do with your review. Take your 10 out of 10 and shove it about 10 mile up your ring piece. Take your 10 out of 10 and fuck right off. This is everything that's wrong with life. Your fucking review. Your fucking review with your mobile phone and your review. And this is, I used to say, as Carl Nichols had said the other day, as my old grandma used to say, if you've nothing nice to say, fuck off and be a cunt somewhere else. But what we have now is going around, as I say, the Walking Dead, these miserable bastards, and you don't see the world the way it is, you see it the way you are. The universe shows us ourselves in others, and it shows that everything is a hypothesis. So if you're a miserable bastard and you go around, anyway, you get the point. But I'm just saying, it's very important. Like, I then had to sit down and had to think to myself, because values, there has to be values. And you have to say to yourself, well, there has to be values. Maybe I'd better stop drinking. Maybe I better not have a drink. Or maybe I better not strive towards my goal. Because as I said, I want to do a cultural hub. I want to have a drink, music, art, philosophy, all which drink is conducive to all these things. Altered states, art, philosophy, gardening, music, relax the brain, altered states, you get new ideas, because you're not inhibited by these stupid inhibitions that are created by the Walking Dead. But anyway, and as I said, I have a goal and I have to hold my line. And I had to say values. Well, I could lose my position here in this hostel if I have another drink. I'd better not drink anymore, because I might get, if I get another bad review, I'll go from 8 down to 6. If you see a hostel with 10 out of 10, what you have then is a lifeless and soulless place. That's exactly what you have, because the dickheads that are doing the reviewing are the Walking Dead. Most people who come to that hostel and enjoy their experience, like for example, there was the engineer the other day. I said, I followed him halfway down to town. When he was going, he was that interesting. We were having that good conversations. And he said when he was going, Dave, this great hostel you have going here. I'll tell all my friends, and if anyone's coming this way, I'll tell them to stay here. And I said, thanks very much. See you later. But he didn't leave any stupid review. He didn't feel the need to empower himself with his stupid review. Anyway, I may go. Bye.